I want to add into the conversation attorney Adam Wolf, who represents hundreds of fertility fraud victims. Because Adam, again, a lot of people don't really understand how Eve could go through this, find out what her truth is, and there are no consequences. How is that in your opinion? You obviously spend a lot of time on this.
It is shocking that this happens. It's unacceptable. We get calls 3 to 4 times a week from people saying that their fertility doctor ended up using his own sperm to cause a pregnancy. Now, how does that happen? There are a few things that have come into play. All of the children from that are between 33 and 44 years old. Why? Because going back that long period of time, there was no 23andMe. There was no Ancestry.com. All of this was done in secrecy, behind closed doors, and doctors thought that they can get away with this. And let's just be entirely clear. It's not acceptable now, and it wasn't acceptable then.
Eve, have you experienced anything where you've learned, okay, a lot of these doctors who've done this, they were playing God, or hey, they were gonna save a few bucks on a sperm donor?
Across the board, we can look at it and look at it from a narcissistic standpoint. When you really break it down, these men are playing God whenever God has technically failed. They are physically doing it. And I think that can really feed this narcissistic power and control type narrative for them.
Well, and I think to add to that, there is a personality disorder that's antisocial personality disorder. It's related sometimes to narcissistic qualities, but there's also this low empathy, this sort of weird sense of right or wrong, maybe not even any sense of right or wrong. They actually prefer to deceive. They like to get away with things, and it's like for personal pleasure. They kind of enjoy that. They enjoy that they have this dirty little secret that they're holding to themselves. And this is what happened with your actual biological father, because you had a whole conversation with him about donor 106, and he had an opportunity then to say, oh, actually, that's not your biological father, but he said nothing of the sort. And Adam, I know you must know of some really egregious cases. This is not just somebody covertly sneaking in 1 or 2 sperm samples. There's a doctor in Indiana who had fathered over 50 children. And there was a lawsuit filed because a few of them women got together, they were about the same age, and they all realized they were half sisters. So I know that these cases are much more common and much more egregious than we probably recognize.
Well, that's right. And I have yet to see a situation where a doctor did this only once.
Right.
What I have found is that if it happened many, many, many times. In my mind, it is, and at the very least, it should be criminal. And I think it's akin to sexual assault.
And you know what's interesting, if you really dig deep and think about this, one doctor in a smaller community could easily father a daughter and a son who could fall in love and get married, and without knowing it, they've married their brother or sister. And it's not that far from the realm of possibility, and yet, there are really no laws in place to protect a scenario like this from occurring. Your biological father is still practicing medicine.
He is still practicing medicine with his son. And guys, I'm from a small town. My small town's 5,000 people. I grew up with my half-siblings, and I had no idea. The biodiversity concerns and those implications are very, very concerning.